Hey guys, welcome in everybody. I hope you had a nice lunch. We are back with the Dismembered Wife Murder Trial, Georgia v. Nicholas Kassotis. We heard opening statements this morning. This man was an attorney. He was a decorated Navy officer. He was a JAG officer, so he was an attorney in the service. He had been married once before. They divorced. He was court ordered to pay her $1.5 million. He and his current wife, Mindi, were on the run because he didn't want to pay her this money. But apparently there was I cannot remember the mystery man's name, but there was some mystery man that was supposed to pay him the $1.5 million, and then he was going to pay his ex-wife. But they were in fear of their lives from him, and he was following them around, so they were changing locations every few days or weeks or something. It's a very convoluted, hard to believe story. And I think the defense is going for a third party culprit defense because they said that he didn't do it. So I'm not exactly sure. Jim McIntyre. Thank you, Judy. She's so good. She always does all the detail stuff for me because I have ADHD and I don't know what details are. So, after he unalived his wife, took her apart, and put her in different places, he went up to Pennsylvania. He'd already been talking to another woman before his second wife's unaliving. And he went to Pennsylvania and met this other woman and married her. So, second wife unaliving in December, married the third wife in April. So, that's this case. Enjoy. Wow. So, we've heard from David Lovett, who found her torso in a ditch on a hunting club property. This is in rural Georgia where everybody hunts. So she was found on December 2nd, 2022. So she was found on the hunting property. And then we heard from Lieutenant Anthony Brown, who was called to the scene. And then we heard from Philip McCallum, who was also a member of the hunting club. He was there that day, and he also found a tote and a knife next to it. So apparently there was like a Rubbermaid tote that he used to transport her, and he left it there. And it had blood in it. I love Lemonade Mouth. I love Lemonade Mouth. I love it. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. Then we heard from John Murphy, who was with the Canine Search Team. Then we heard from Special Agent Brett Dickerson, and he is still on the sand. The sand? The stand. He's not on sand. It's not a beach. He's on the stand. We are not at the beach, although I wish we were. Actually, no, I don't. The Florida beaches have been quite dangerous this year, so I don't wish I was at the beach. Disney World, yes. I do wish I was at Disney World. But not the beach. Not this year.
Agent Dickerson, when we stopped for the lunch break, I believe we had just concluded the initial crime scene. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And just to be clear, did there come a time that you subsequently returned to that location on December 5th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you returned to that location, I'm going to slide number 26. I would ask that this be published. Can you see that on your screen, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Can you tell the jury, why did you return on December 5th again?
Yes, ma'am. We had, excuse me, other partners join with us in the search that day, including members of a cadaver dog team. These dogs are trained to locate basically human remains in a state of decomposition. And they're very useful for large wooded areas like this. We also had aviation unit in the area and other agencies assisting us as well with a search of the ground.
And can you tell us what's depicted in slide number 26?
This is a portion of a woods road that kind of loops around to the east off of Jones Road. It's called Bear Hammock Road. It's not a public lane, it's a privately maintained drive, but it's in the same general vicinity. It's about 2.5 miles from the location where the torso was found.
Okay, so it's in the same wooded area, but about 2.5 miles away?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that 2.5 miles, for lack of a better way to say it, as the crow flies, or driving?
I'd have to refer to my notes. It's about 2.8, if I remember correctly, driving.
Okay, so it's a little bit closer as the crow flies, but driving it was just a tad farther.
Correct.
Okay, but that's now about 2.5 miles from where the torso was recovered?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you were present for that recovery on that date?
Yes, ma'am. I was actually called after the leg was found, but
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you discussed earlier finding versus recovering. Who found the leg, to your knowledge?
One of the cadaver dog teams was searching the area, and the dog did a great job. He did what he was supposed to do, and located that particular portion of her remains.
Okay. Can you tell the jury how far from the edge of this roadway was that leg recovered?
Not very far, about 30 feet or so, maybe a little farther, but not much farther.
Okay. Was that farther than the torso was recovered from the roadway?
Yes, ma'am.
By
It
a
was-
little, by a lot?
Just by a little. Well, it wasn't within sight of the road. You could not see the leg where it had been placed in the woods from the roadway. You had to actually enter the wood line, and then you could see it after you walked in.
Now, looking at the woods, were they heavily forested enough that you could take a car there, or would you only have been able to go on foot?
This was a young stand of planted pines.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that those trees are close together?
They are.
Okay. So you couldn't just drive through it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And specifically, slide number 20, does that depict that roadway? Now, some of the roads, well, let me back up. I'll withdraw. Do all of the roads have names?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So Bear Hammock had a name.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if the Torso Road had a name?
Not that I'm aware of. Uh, at the time, it was just a wooded lane. We used global positioning system or GPS coordinates to identify the specific location where the torso was located and then where the other body parts were located as well.
If you have rural areas, can you explain why GPS coordinates are an option?
Well, for privately maintained roads like this, not all of them are named. So they may be on survey maps, but they may close if an area is logged and the new roads may be made, old roads may be damaged, or their use may be discontinued. So with the exception of private roads, sometimes GPS coordinates are just the most accurate way to record where an incident took place or where an item of evidence was located.
Would that include a longitude and a latitude coordinate? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were those taken for each of these recoveries?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in the following image, well, let me back up. This image, is this at ground level?
No, ma'am.
How was this captured?
This was a drone photograph.
Okay, and would that be the 400 feet or less that you were referring to earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and who would have manned those drones at the time of these incidents?
I took this photograph.
Okay. And is that the way it looked on December 5th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and now I'm going to actually turn off the monitors for the next slide. Slide number 27. Thank you. I recognize that this is very far away, comparatively. Was this a drone photo or some other photo?
My screen's blank.
Oh,
If I turn it on, it's going to turn the screen on.
then we need Ms. Billings, Your Honor, to turn that off.
Or,
Brady, could you step back to chambers and see if Ms. Billings is available, please?
Your Honor, I just text her and asked her to come.
Okay.
My apologies, Your Honor.
No problem.
She apologizes a lot. But we're not counting them. That got recovery addicts in trouble. We're not counting her apologies. You don't want to get in trouble.
So we're fine now.
I'm on slide number 26 still, so that in case we have some difficulty.
Okay, I have it back up now, so it should just be.
Can you see what's up there?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, then I'm going to move to slide number 27. Can you see what's depicted in that slide?
I can.
And what is depicted in that slide?
This is a portion of the west part of Bear Hammock Road. It's a little difficult to see in the photograph, but if you'll look around the middle and a little bit to the left of center, you can see Mindy's left leg where it was recovered.
Is that what I've now zoomed into?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the center of the screen now.
Is that in fact vehicles that are on that roadway?
That-
And what vehicles are those?
I believe that's Agent Sands' Tahoe there in front, and that's my truck behind it.
Those are the vehicles that you see to the left of the screen?
That's correct.
Okay. And I'm now turning to slide number 28. Can you tell us what's depicted there?
Yes, ma'am. Again, this is an overhead view of the location of the left leg where it's recovered.
And these shots, were these taken before any manipulation of the recovered items is occurring?
Correct. The cadaver dog team located the leg and then notified us immediately. We responded and then started the documentation process then.
Okay. And when you took these drone photographs, that was from above, not having moved these items, so they would have been where they were initially found?
This is where it was found, yes.
I'm now going to slide number 29. And what is depicted in this slide?
That's Mindy's left leg.
Okay. Would that be fair to say that's simply a ground level shot?
It is.
Okay. And who took that shot?
I did.
And this is again before it was moved?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And slide number 30. What's depicted there, sir?
This is Mindy's left foot. This damage to her area of her toes and her foot is consistent with animal predation or rodent activity, in my experience.
Okay. And so that would have been not necessarily something human done, but rather animals that were unfortunately in the woods?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm now going to slide number 31. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
This is the top of the thigh. In the middle there you see the femur that's been cut through. And the grainy substance there was a colonization of maggots that occurred by the time we reached the leg.
So when you get to the leg that we're looking at in this picture, that was December 5th of 2022, correct?
That's correct.
So how many days had passed since the day that the torso was first recovered?
So the torso was recovered on the 2nd of December, and this was the 5th of December, so several days have passed.
So approximately 3 days had gone by?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that time, this is what was observed when you got there on the 5th?
Yes, ma'am. This is as we discovered the leg.
And
This is
that
the condition
measurement-
it was in.
My apologies.
It's fine. This is the condition the leg was in as we discovered it.
What is that white marker that you see just below that leg?
That's a scale
Okay.
placed there for reference, for size.
Okay. And when you at that location, can you tell the jury what, if anything, you did in addition to simply photographing this image?
So part of our training, we always try to determine a time of death. It's very difficult to do, and usually after about 72 hours, one of the best ways to do that is through forensic entomology. What that is, we'll have experts in the area of insect science who are able to take samples either that we collect or that they collect themselves, and then are able to determine different things like what species of insect has colonized the remains, and then using very well established standards for how long these insects take to basically go through their life cycle, they can then determine what they call a minimum time in which, a minimum post-mortem interval, I believe is what they call it, which is just the earliest possible time that the remains could have been colonized by insects. So obviously we know she wasn't colonized when she was alive. That would have happened after she died. So in this case, we collected a sample of the maggots that were on her legs and then submitted them to a scientist at Georgia Southern University for study.
And I apologize. Can you please describe to the jury what you had to do?
So we were given many tools to work with in the crime scene program. Nobody gave me a maggot collection device, so unfortunately I just used a gloved hand to collect a representative sample of the maggots and then placed them inside of a plastic case and sealed them inside of a glove, and then we were able to preserve that sample later on for study.
While you were collecting this sample, were you, without telling us what was said, were you speaking to anyone?
I did contact, my training in forensic entomology came from Dr. Edward Mondor at Georgia Southern University, who's, to my knowledge, is the only practicing forensic entomologist in Georgia. And I've had a workshop with him and trained under him specifically. I was able to contact him, and subsequently I was able to collect and preserve, or we were able to collect and preserve as a team a sample of the maggots from the leg.
And that collection process, did you discuss that with Dr. Mondor as you were doing it in real time?
No, he explained to me the process is actually very simple. It's not a complicated process to preserve maggots for study in this manner. It's distasteful again, but we take the representative sample of the maggots and then we pour boiling water over them. This kills them and essentially freezes them in place in time. We document that date and time and the conditions that were surrounding the collection. And then after the maggots are dead, we can pour that water off and then preserve them in alcohol. And then once they're preserved, they last pretty much indefinitely.
And that procedure, was that discussed with Dr. Mondor to ensure that you were complying with what was required on his end?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you follow those instructions?
Yes.
And
Well,
as a team?
I
that
did
is,
not
of
myself,
course.
but as a team, we did.
Okay. So there were other people that assisted?
Correct.
Okay. But you're the one that actually did the collecting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were those preserved beyond Dr. Mondor? Meaning after, let me back up, withdrawn. Did you provide them to anyone after you collected them?
I collected the sample at the scene, and at the time, Assistant Special Agent in charge, Lindsay Smith of our office, responded. I met her, passed the sample off to her, and she was able to subsequently perform that procedure to make sure that they were preserved.
So she boiled them?
She did.
Yes. And then did you receive them back from her?
I did. They were logged into evidence, and I eventually hand-delivered them to Dr. Mondor and passed them off to him so he could conduct his study.
Did you receive them back from Dr. Mondor after he completed his study?
I did.
And did those get preserved for trial in court here today?
They did.
Are they here with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm now showing slide number 32. We can turn the monitors back on. Can you tell us what's depicted in slide number 32?
This is a small strip of gray plastic, and it was located along a path. It should be noted that the left leg, when we found it, was not just, nobody just pushed their way through brush to put it. It was actually like a game path or an animal path that was already there. Again, I've hunted for many years, and I can recognize where deer walk through the woods, and this was something that was already there. The leg was discarded along this path. In between the leg and the road, it was only a short distance, and this strip of plastic was found there, and it looked to me a lot like the plastic strip that was included in the drawstring of a plastic bag, such as the one that we found at the original crime scene.
And that would have been where the corner of the roadway by where the torso intersected with Jones Road?
Yes, ma'am. That's a black plastic bag that had the clothing and the cleaning wipes in it. I had a similar drawstring strip in it.
Okay. But you didn't find a second bag, did you?
No, ma'am.
Now I'm going to slide number 33. Did you insert some of these slides to assist yourself in your testimony here today?
I did.
And I'm now going to slide number 34. Can you tell the jury what's depicted in slide number 34?
This is looking south on Jones Road. You should be able to see, I believe, the pumping station for a local water municipality. They're kind of close to the top. But
You're referring to up there, sir?
correct. And behind the camera, so to speak, or behind the camera's point of view would be the original crime scene, the intersection of Hunting Road and Jones Road. So the first drone shot that you saw, the very first one that looked north that showed the Hunting Club Road, this would be basically the mirror image of it. This would be the
Looking the opposite direction?
Correct.
Okay. And so how far approximately is that pumping station or the building from where the intersecting road was, approximately?
It had measured much more precisely than this, I guess, half a mile or so, not
Okay.
far.
So that car is rather withdrawn. The pumping station that was down there, you would drive down this roadway to get to where the road cut for the torso?
If you came in from that direction, you'd have to pass there.
Okay. I'm now going to slide number 35. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
That's a gray plastic storage container. A lot of people call them totes.
Okay. Would you call them rubberized tubs too?
Sure.
Okay. And this particular tub, where did you see it first?
So this was also a cadaver dog team find. The team was walking along the path here, and one of the dogs pulled them off the road into the edge of the wood line, and they discovered this, looked inside, and decided to contact us to respond to the area, and we did.
And did you photograph that?
I did.
Had that been moved, or was it, do you recall where that was originally observed?
This, as it was located.
That's where you ultimately saw, meaning the cadaver dog team, correct?
Right.
Okay. And the next photograph, that being slide number 36, can you tell us what's there?
And that's just a little bit more close-up shot, same tub, walking up to it. It wasn't very far off the side of the roadway, so this would have only just been a couple of steps off the side of the dirt road.
Okay. Did there come a time when you did anything with respect to this tub?
So when we looked inside the tub did have an amount of water in the bottom, a couple of inches. There were some leaves and other debris inside. However, there was a reddish brown substance that was kind of stuck to the side or adhered to the insides of the edge of the tub, and it appeared to be blood, so we decided to test it with a field test kit.
So I'm going to now show you slide number 37. Would that be a view inside the tub of what you just described?
It is.
And specifically, I'm referring to the interior portion of that tub. Can you see that?
I do.
And is that what you were just describing to the jury?
It is.
And did you do anything with respect to what you observed inside of that tub?
Well, again, because we don't have opportunities to go back and preserve evidence or collect evidence that we may have gotten, we decided to pour the water off that was inside the tub and go ahead and let it dry a little bit. But we poured the water out through some filter paper and collected that filter paper and some paper towels with it, and then collected the filter paper and the towels as evidence.
Why would you do?
And again, once you let water and evidence sit together, you start having problems with mold and mildew, and then you start having potential damage to DNA evidence. And we're trying to preserve the evidence. You have to dry it.
So by pouring it through the filter paper, what were you hoping to accomplish?
Just in case there was any trace evidence or anything inside the container that could be analyzed later at the lab, we decided to err on the side of caution and filter the water through first.
Okay. And did you take any swabs with respect to this tub?
We did. We took a swab of the inside that reddish brown stains on the inside and exposed it to a phenolphthalein test kit.
Now, you have said we several times when you said Kassotis, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you, in fact, at some point do a blood presumptive test, the phenolphthalein test that you referred to?
I did. I also did an OBTI test.
Okay. I'm now showing you slide number 38. What does that show?
The test kit on the right there is phenolphthalein. And again, it's showing a positive. And on the left, there's the OBTI test strip that's also showing a positive result for human blood.
And that boot print, just so we're sure?
That's either myself or one of the respondents. This area had been rained on heavily. There was no chance of there being footwear impressions left with the amount of rainfall that had been in that area, not in dirt.
Just wanted to make sure that we were being clear for the jury. Those potentially are your footprints or
They
one of the
probably
other
are.
officers?
Right.
Okay. And so that was not in some way evidence in connection with this case?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm now going to ask you, each of the blood tests that you referred to, that being the first series of tests that you took and then the second series, what did you do with those swabs?
So the swabs themselves that are used are consumed by the testing process. So those wouldn't be things that we would take with us. However, the original evidence itself would go with us and remain with us. We just document the results of the presumptive kits because, again, those are just guides. We're going to have follow-up testing at the lab later on to let us know definitively what is in that tub and what's not.
So when you say the ones that were not preserved, you're talking about the one that's inside of this little packet, is that correct?
That's
Okay.
right.
And were there additional swabs taken and made available ultimately to the crime laboratory? Or was it the actual tub itself?
In this case, both of the tubs that were recovered were conveyed to the crime lab for testing.
Okay, so they had the ability to take the actual tub itself for additional testing?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm now going back to slide 39. Would that be the end of your collection at that location?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you see here in slide number 40?
So one of the partners that we had working with us that day was the Department of Natural Resources game warden who handled what's called an article dog. Article dogs detect items with human scent in places where human scent is not supposed to be. So I'll give you an example. When I first met this particular dog handler, I asked him how his dog worked, and he had me throw my pocket knife into the woods, and the dog found it just a few minutes later. So the dog can detect human scent. In this case, we conducted another search of the original crime scene just to make sure there wasn't any other pieces of items of evidence that we could have missed. And the canine identified some torn pieces of clothing that were behind where that original plastic bag was located at the crime scene. And so we went ahead and collected those pieces of cloth and preserved them.
Were there any lids recovered with these tubs?
So I was not present for the collection or the recovery of a lid. However, there was a lid recovered.
Okay. And was that preserved?
It was.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm clear, though. You did not actually process it, right?
No, ma'am. It was packaged and taken to the crime lab for processing.
Okay. So, before I move forward, I'm going to show you what I have marked as 1.1A through 1.1TT. These have been previously shown to council. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm handing you a stack of photographs, and I'd like you to just take a look at them.
Yes, ma'am. I've looked at them.
Okay. Do you recognize what's in those?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Barring the image like the one that you see right now in slide number 41, are those a fair and accurate duplication in a actual photograph form of what is on that PowerPoint in 1.1 in evidence?
Yes, ma'am. These are digital, physical prints of the digital photographs that I took.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I would seek to introduce them so that they may be available to the jury subsequently if needed.
No objection.
They are admitted.
Your Honor, I'd like to just publish them in their entirety to the panel.
That's fine.
Thank you.
What is happening? What are they doing? What you doing? What are they doing? We're cut up to the live, so I can't be a Time Lord right now. I like it when I'm a Time Lord. Are they just, the jury's just looking at something? Is that what's going on? Alrighty then. You know, I thought it was weird earlier before lunch when she was asking question about something that she said was not being published per a court order. How are you asking questions about something that's not being published because of a court order? I don't understand that. Because even though we can't see things because of the graphic nature or whatever, it still gets published to the jury. When a court says it can't be published, that usually means it can't be offered as any evidence whatsoever. So how can you ask questions about it? That made no sense to me whatsoever. They need to hurry this along. I gotta leave in an hour. And it's storming, and I gotta take Belle out in this mess. She gonna be scared. She don't like to